The world had gone quiet, tucked under a blanket of rain as it whispered against the broken mansion walls. Freen lay there, holding Becky close beneath the weight of blankets and the heavier weight of emotions they hadn't dared to name. Just skin against skin, breath against breath, no words needed anymore. Becky's head rested on Freen's chest, fingers tracing invisible patterns over the fading scars that told too many stories. Outside, thunder cracked faintly, but inside, everything was still. For once. "I wish this moment could last forever," Becky whispered, her lips barely moving. Freen didn't speak. She just pressed a kiss to Becky's hair. "If forever existed, I'd give it to you." Their fingers entwined slowly, like roots desperate to anchor into something solid. Becky's leg curled around Freen's as she shifted closer. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Becky asked softly, catching Freen's gaze. "Because I've never been this close to something I didn't want to destroy." Becky's throat bobbed, eyes glimmering with unspoken feelings. Her hands moved gently, pushing Freen to lie back. She hovered over her now, soft and divine, the moonlight painting streaks of silver on her bare skin. "Don't say anything," Becky breathed. Freen didn't. Her breath caught as Becky leaned in, kissing the space below her ear, her jaw, her throat, worshipping every inch like she was afraid this was the only time she'd ever get to. Her fingers wandered, slow and curious, retracing places they'd already touched but now with reverence. Their kisses deepened, breath growing heavy with want and sorrow all tangled up together. It wasn't just passion, it was a goodbye written in the shape of their bodies. Like they already knew the world wouldn't let them have this twice. Becky's hands found Freen's again, fingers clutching like lifelines. She trembled slightly as she moved above her, both of them trying to memorize the sound of each other's moans and the rhythm of each heartbeat. It was slow, achingly slow, like time itself had bowed in respect for them. "I don't know how to survive you," Freen rasped, chest heaving beneath Becky's touch. "Then don't," Becky whispered against her lips. "Live me. For as long as you can." Tears slipped down the side of Freen's face, unnoticed in the dark. She kissed her like it was the end of the world, because in so many ways, it was. Every thrust, every gasp, every whispered "I love you" between trembling breaths built a rhythm that couldn't last forever. But God, they wanted it to. When it was over, Becky lay trembling in Freen's arms, the rise and fall of their chests sinking into the same rhythm. The storm outside had settled, but something in the air felt wrong. Heavy. Too quiet. "I'm scared," Becky murmured suddenly. Freen's brows drew together. "Of what?" "That this moment is just a pause before the worst part." Freen brushed hair from her lover's face. "Then let it be the best memory we ever had." And then, the explosion hit. A blinding light shattered through the windows as the wall on the east wing blew inward with a deafening roar. Screams followed, twisted, inhuman, furious. Freen was up instantly, dragging Becky behind her, eyes glowing red in instinct. "Get behind me," she growled, already pulling on her half-torn shirt. Becky's body shook from the cold and fear, still unclothed, still dazed from what they'd just shared. Another crash. Then silence. And then, Saint. He stepped in, calm and drenched in blood, like death itself. His glowing eyes locked onto Becky like a predator. "I gave you time, Freen. I warned you. But love makes you weak." Freen lunged without thought. Her claws sliced through the air but Saint caught her by the throat mid-leap, slamming her into the ground with impossible strength. Becky screamed, grabbing the nearest metal rod to attack him, but he just laughed. "I'm not here to kill her," Saint said. "I'm here to remind you what you'll lose when the time comes." He tossed Becky aside like a rag doll, and her head hit the corner of the marble table with a sickening crack. "Becky!" Freen's voice shattered. Blood poured from Becky's temple. Her body didn't move. Freen froze. Everything stopped. She scrambled across the floor, crawling through shattered glass, cutting her palms to reach Becky's body. Her lips found Becky's, trying to breathe life into her. Again. Again. Then, something inside Freen snapped. A scream ripped from her throat, so loud and feral it shattered every remaining window. Her skin glowed as the infection roared awake. Her veins turned black, Her eyes blazed white, and her body cracked with growing power. She stood, shaking, hair wild, mouth covered in Becky's blood. And she slaughtered everything in sight. Saint vanished. His men weren't so lucky. Freen didn't stop. She tore through them, drenched in blood, screaming like someone who had nothing left to lose. No mercy. No humanity. Only rage and grief and love mangled into destruction. And when it was over, she returned. To the body. To Becky. Bloodied hands cupped her face again. "Please," she whispered this time. "I can't be alive if you're not." And then, faintly, barely. Becky coughed. Freen's heart nearly stopped again. Her eyes fluttered open. "You're heavy," Becky rasped, a small twitch of a smile trying to fight the pain. Freen collapsed into her, holding her so tightly it was almost painful. "I thought I lost you." "You almost did," Becky whispered. "But you kissed life back into me." They stayed like that, tangled in blood and love and broken breaths, for what felt like hours. Later, when the sun began to rise and the room was stained in gold, Becky lay curled up in Freen's lap, fingers tracing the edges of her bruises. "You went full monster for me," she whispered, voice fragile. "I'm only a monster when I have nothing to live for," Freen said, brushing hair from her face. Becky stared up at her. "Then live for me." "I already do." Tears welled in Becky's eyes. "Then promise me something." "Anything." "When the end comes. When you have to choose. Don't protect me if it means losing yourself." Freen swallowed. "That's not a promise I can keep." "You have to." "No," she said. "I already died once tonight. I'm not doing it again." They sat in silence. Freen kissed her forehead, long and lingering. "Even if you leave me, I'll never stop loving you." Becky smiled softly, eyes closing as she leaned into her chest. "Then you better make damn sure I never leave." Outside, the sky was bleeding into light. Inside, two broken hearts held each other together, one heartbeat at a time. The light had changed. It was no longer bleeding gold, it had gone pale, washed out. Morning had come, but the mansion still smelled of ash and fear and blood. Freen sat on the ruined couch, legs spread, shirt torn, eyes vacant as Becky lay between them with her head in Freen's lap, half asleep, half trembling. Freen was still covered in blood. Not all of it was theirs. Becky stirred, flinching slightly at the sting of her bandaged temple. Freen's hand instantly went to her cheek, brushing her hair with such softness it hurt. "Does it still hurt?" Freen asked. Becky opened her eyes, blinking slowly. "Only when I try to remember how close I was to leaving you." A silence passed between them. "I thought I lost you," Freen murmured, her voice hoarse. "You didn't breathe. For so long." "I know," Becky whispered. "I heard you screaming. I wanted to reach you, but everything was dark." Freen looked down at her, heart raw. "I wanted to die with you." Becky reached up, cupping her face. "But you didn't. You chose to live. You fought." "I fought because I couldn't let go of you." Their fingers interlaced again. "Does it scare you?" Becky asked. "How much you love me?" Freen's breath caught. "Yes. Because I've never had anything to lose before. Not like this." Becky shifted, wincing, and sat up. She moved to straddle Freen's lap, arms wrapping slowly around her neck. The position was familiar, intimate, but now, it felt more sacred than ever. Freen wrapped her arms tightly around Becky's waist, burying her face in her shoulder. "I'm scared too," Becky whispered. "Because every time I look at you, I see something beautiful. And broken. And I want to save you, but I know I can't. Not all the way." Freen looked up. "Then stay. Even if you can't save me. Just stay." Becky leaned in slowly and pressed her lips to Freen's, soft, slow, a kiss not of passion but of rescue. "I'm not leaving," she whispered. "Not unless you tell me to." "I'll never tell you to." Then Freen pulled her in again, kissing her like she was afraid it would be the last time. It wasn't desperate, it was gentle, worshipful, as if every inch of Becky was holy ground. Her lips moved to her cheek, then her eyelid, her forehead, her jaw, and then to her neck, where she paused. "Can I?" she asked, fingers trembling near her own fangs. "You lost a lot of blood." Becky froze for a second. Then nodded. "Yes." Freen hesitated, then slowly, reverently, sank her teeth into the side of Becky's neck. The moment she did, Becky gasped, her body shivering in Freen's arms, not from pain, but from something far deeper. It was intimate, vulnerable, something that connected them beyond words. Freen didn't take much. Just enough. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet. "You taste like home." Becky laughed through her tears. "That's probably because I'm yours." Freen rested her forehead against Becky's. "And I'll never let any on." But deep inside, a voice whispered something darker. "What if I'm the one who does?" She didn't say it. She just held Becky tighter. The rest of the day passed in quiet stillness. Freen cleaned Becky's wounds, cradled her in warm water while they bathed together, and bandaged her ribs. The silence wasn't empty, it was healing. At dusk, they lay side by side again in the ruined bed. Becky broke the silence first. "Do you think, if we survive all this, we could have a real life?" Freen looked at the broken ceiling above them. "A life with no monsters? No war? Just waking up next to you every day?" "Yes." Freen reached over and tucked a strand of hair behind Becky's ear. "If we make it through this, I'll build us a house by the sea. With white walls, and a porch swing, and no locks on the doors. Old ants in the kitchen. I'll write music again. We'll plant a tree in the backyard and watch it grow older than us." Becky smiled, eyes glassy. "Promise?" "I swear it." Another pause. Then Becky whispered, "Freen? Yeah? If I ever turn. If I ever become like them. Promise me you won't let me hurt anyone. Not even you." Freen turned her head slowly. "Don't say that. Promise me." "I won't kill you, Becky." "I didn't say kill," she said softly. "I said, stop me." Freen turned toward her, hand finding her cheek again. "I'll protect you from everything, even from yourself. But I won't let this world take you from me. Ev." They stayed like that, two souls burned by war and loss, holding on like the world could end at any second. Because it could. But not tonight. Tonight, they had each other. And that was everything.